Doug Pederson, Philadelphia Eagles head coach, was fired about an hour and a half ago. And this is a shocking move if you're the Eagles, because this was not expected to happen. 3 years ago, you win the Super Bowl. 2 years prior, you end up hiring Doug Pederson when you draft Carson Wentz. So what went wrong? Well, there's a multitude of things. And I have theories about what happened. My first theory is that Doug Pederson wanted to play Carson Wentz and give him every opportunity to play, while still, even though he wasn't doing well, continuing trying to develop him as a fifth-round player, which is kind of strange, because normally you develop a person in the first 3 years, not in the first 5. But sometimes it takes longer. Plus of how much Carson Wentz has been injured, it needed to happen. And the fact that probably management was trying to tell him, no, play Jalen Hurts. We drafted him, play him, Wentz is not doing very good. He's doing bad, we can't win. You need to make a switch. And he either didn't want to. He didn't want to, probably, in this theory. And the second theory means he probably went rogue in drafting Jalen Hurts, because we heard that Carson Wentz and Jeffrey Lurie are very tight. They're very tight people. Jeffrey Lurie obviously gave Carson Wentz that big contract extension, which basically makes him untradeable. The only team that could possibly trade for him are the New York Jets. That's the only other team. Because they need a place that they could get draft capital and get rid of a big contract. That's the Jets. Will they do it? Probably not. So you're at least stuck with him for another year or two. But then you're talking about, in the second theory, that Doug Pederson went, well, maybe Doug Pederson wanted to play Jalen Hurts. Ownership was like, no, play Carson Wentz. And then Doug Pederson was like, okay, but I'll sprinkle him in to the game plan. I'll give him 6 or 7 plays. Either that's because management told him to stop playing Carson Wentz and play Jalen Hurts, and Doug Pederson was like, okay, I'll play Jalen Hurts, I'll put him in for 1 play, and I'll take him back out, and here comes Carson Wentz again. Or that was Wentz, or they knew that Wentz was a management guy, big contract extension. That was probably another reason. Either way, they took Doug Pederson out of the equation. So now the question remains, where, if they do decide to trade Carson Wentz, where does he go? If they don't, which they probably won't now because they're getting a new coach, you're in a situation. Who are you going to go get? You can talk about trying to get Eric Bieniemy, another guy who is a former Andy Reid disciple from the Mike Holmgren tree, where Andy Reid was the head coach in Philadelphia when Doug Pederson was the quarterback coach. When Andy Reid got let go and fired, Doug Pederson followed him, became the offensive coordinator for the Kansas City Chiefs, went back to the Eagles as the head coach. Eric Bieniemy took over as offensive coordinator. Matt Nagy was taking over as offensive coordinator, who is now the head coach in Chicago, and possibly saved his job for how good Mitch Trubisky played in the last month. Then it was Eric Bieniemy. So it's just this long cycle. It's like the same cycle that happened when Belichick assistants become head coaches. It's not like they don't have success. Well, Belichick coaches don't have success, really. If you don't count Vrabel and Flores, those are the 2 probably most successful coaches. Because they figured it out. It was not like, oh, we got in because our division was not great. It's not like what happened with Bill O'Brien, where he just threw talent out the door like they were playing cards. It didn't work like that. So the next thing we have to talk about is, well, who could the Eagles hire? Well, I think you have to hire somebody that is either committed to playing Jalen Hurts or committed to playing Carson Wentz. Which you're then talking about having to rescale the whole roster. Recreate the Eagles of old that won the Super Bowl. It's not possible when the Eagles of old at that time were already up in age. Jason Peters was, when they won the Super Bowl, I believe he was 35. He's now 37, 38 years old and lost a step. Lane Johnson was playing on a really bad ankle and could not be effective, and he was getting up in age. So, and the fact that they haven't drafted very well doesn't help their situation. If you're Doug Pederson, I don't know if this was fully your fault or partially your fault. Either way, you're out of there. You have to find a new job. I think he'll be a good hire for anywhere he goes. Yet he's going to need a place where he has a quarterback and talent around him that could be successful. But, breaking news, Doug Pederson was fired about an hour and a half ago. Who should the Eagles pick as their new head coach, and where should Doug Pederson go?